So joining me now is one of the newest members to our team, Matt Brevner, from his home in Vancouver. Matt, you have a story that I don't think a lot of people know about. People are learning more about you as you come out from behind the scenes and in front of the camera. But how you came to us and how you sort of ended up sort of in the world of Rebel News, it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting. My story on how I came to Rebel is it's almost out of prudence, I've been a fan for a long time, and I always liked how, not to sound cliche, but Rebel covers the other side of the story, which to me means, gives a voice to the underdog. So after I went through, a very grand media debacle in Vancouver, thanks to CTV and social media, Rebel reached out and they wanted to do exactly that, which was, tell the other side of the story, hear what happened to me. And it was kind of interesting because there's not too many, at least in Canada, there's not too many media outlets that are at least friendly and unbiased towards Christians and Christian stories. So that was just like, it was weird for me to get used to because I'm just so guarded walking through the world that it was like really cool to, like when I met Drea, the first thing we prayed before we even sat down to talk, and I was just like, wow, okay, there are like-minded, folks out there. And that was, I guess, the first step in, rehabilitation and yeah, it's been pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think that's one of the great things about Rebel News is that while we're not specifically a Christian news network, we have people from all different faith backgrounds who are with us. But because we advocate for Christians in the public square, it's okay for people like you and me to preface our videos with, I'm a Christian, so I see things through a very Christian worldview. And there's an honesty with the viewer when you do that sort of thing. But let's go back a little. Tell us,
Sure.
I mean, you're the same guy, but tell us what you were doing in your life sort of became before you came to, I guess you were canceled, then you came to us. So go way back to the beginning, I guess.
So what was cancel worthy, I guess?
Yeah.
So I'm a musician. It's basically music has been how I've been providing for myself and paying my bills since I was about 18. I was fortunate enough to, to tour the world and get a few, Juno nominations and Much Music Award nominations and Leo Awards and all the cool things in the process. Hip hop on the West Coast of Canada, historically outside of a couple groups like the Rascals or Swollen Members. I came up in a generation where it wasn't really big here. It was more rock, like, soft rock and country. So we definitely had to like carve out our niche and our own lane. Because of that, I didn't reach the level of international success. I had a few singles that did not bad in North America. But, when you are a bit of a trailblazer in a community, you become a bit of like a big fish in a small pond. And I don't say that to toot my own horn, but just people held me to a certain status and regard in the community. And the difficult thing is, especially in the arts, it's historically very liberal, now very left. So it's, if you don't toe, you almost have to toe the line by default, even if these aren't necessarily your beliefs. I wasn't ever someone to shy away from what I believed, but I noticed it in, family and friends in the industry that you kind of just like keep your ideas to yourself and keep quiet for the sake of, your career. Yeah, so I was always that, I wrote about, I was by no means a Christian artist. I would say that, up until maybe 4 years ago, Jesus was my savior, but not my Lord. But I didn't shy away from speaking about him in press or in my music. So I was always that Christian. Sorry, I was always that Christian that a Christian artist that was like, oh, well, I don't really like Christians, but Brevner's cool. Like I was that guy to my community. And then when they realize, oh, wait, I don't know. I guess that's kind of a bit of a jumbled, that sets the stage anyways.
Right. That sort of takes care of my next question. I was going to ask, what is it like being a Christian in an industry that is often, you know, proponents of hedonism or materialism? I guess, how were you able to sort of maintain your Christianity when you're swimming in that world, or do you sort of make yourself a missionary to that world?
I think, well, when you're born again, it's a transformation from the inside out. So I didn't set out to, okay, I need to completely rearrange and shuffle these structures. But, you know, when given opportunities to have conversations with people one-on-one, or to be kind to people who maybe aren't kind to me, or speak some truth into someone's life, I'm taking that opportunity 100,000% every time. And that's, again, you know, people, you know, I guess that's why I got that label of like, oh, I don't really like Christians, but Brevner's cool. But they didn't realize that it was like the Lord working in me, you know, those were attributes that were making me appealing to these other people, but they just don't know they don't know God, and they don't know the gospel. So it's that, like, that unconscious draw that people have to things that are, you know, just pure and decent, even if society is saying that that's not the way it's supposed to be. So yeah, it was definitely difficult, though. I had to, you know, I felt convicted, and there's definitely like and, you know, I'm not perfect. So there were times where I felt like I had to toe the line in my own way. Like, that doesn't mean that I was necessarily screaming for certain social issues that were popular, but certain, you know, tropes within the genre that I would write about or whatever, that I felt like not only like they were real to me, but I also felt like if I glamorized them, they would be popular. And I mean, they were. You know, some of my most commercially successful music is some of the most damning, you know, and that's something that I want to make right now with my life.
If you'd like to get access to my show, as well as other great TV style shows too, like Ezra's Nightly, Ezra Levant Show, and David Menzies' Friday night show, Rebel Roundup, just go to rebelnews.com/subscribe. That's rebelnews.com/subscribe.